right, House of Payne fans, hope everybody's doing well. We're talking about season 11, episode 13, entitled Unwelcome Neighbors. Synopsis. It looks like someone is occupying the old Caskey house. Curtis enlists CJ to help them investigate. When Curtis alerts CJ, Lisa overhears and adds fuel to the fire, stating she saw some suspicious activity happen outside of that house. In the promo, none of that is even shown. It's only simply the back and forth between Laura and Calvin in regards to Miranda withdrawing money from the Calvin ATM. And let me just be blunt. When it comes to the storyline involving Laura, it felt completely forced and out of nowhere. That's kind of a recurring theme when I do House of Payne, where usually the drama of the episode completely comes out of nowhere and makes no sense. So I'm giving this episode a 5 out of 10. I didn't think it was that great. Obviously, the biggest conversation point was the Calvin and Miranda moment, but that was it. Other than that, the episode was pretty boring for the most part. Sister Living was way better. So, before moving forward in the review, take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And let's jump into it. So, Curtis is telling Ella about someone who may have moved into the Caskey house up the street. And I believe Curtis did say that the house is closer to CJ's than it is to theirs. And Curtis said, I was walking and someone saw me from the top window looking up, and then they kind of ducked. And that led to, Curtis figuring that something suspicious was going on. So from there, we got CJ and Curtis talking about the person at the Caskey house, and Lisa chimes in about something regarding a pit bull in the front yard, and somebody in like a black sports car came by and threw out a duffel bag and then kept on driving. So then you have Glow, who's invited over to the house, and they're at CJ's, by the way. So CJ, Curtis, and Lisa's to the side. So CJ and Curtis are talking to her about the whole new neighbors thing. It's like, well, you're not doing your job as the president of the neighborhood if you're not, keeping tabs on who's moving in and whatnot. Because Curtis found it suspicious that people will be doing stuff in the house when there's no sign out in front, because Glow would put out a sign like, house just sold or whatever. So CJ says, it's potential squatters at the house, and could it be drug dealers or gangsters or something like that? And Lisa, who is no snitch, doesn't really say anything. So what was the point of her even saying something at all if she wasn't going to tell anybody, when it was important? So from there, CJ said he'll go check it out. I'm just going to go to my mailbox. I want to look, stand out there, see if anybody is looking at me through the windows, and that'll be that. So it turns out that when he did go to the mailbox, he comes running back in saying like, look, when somebody saw me seeing them through the window, they closed the curtain. So from there, Lisa, still not talking, they look through the window and then they notice a woman who's running, outside, long hair and everything. It's like, wait, that's Miranda. So Miranda comes rushing into the house. And I will pause right here because I need to jump back to the Laura and Calvin stuff. So Laura is asking Calvin, because he comes from around the corner, telling Miranda, oh yeah, I just sent you the $150. And then, Laura she butts in when she has no place to. She goes on about Miranda just, having her needs turn to greed in regards to getting money for Calvin. This woman pulls out a box of receipts, and when she starts reading them off, it's just so ridiculous. They're reading off like, bicycle helmet, knee pads, and just a bunch of other like kids sports equipment. And I'm thinking to myself, these are all things for their son. Not one of those receipts said like nail appointment, hair extensions, new dress, or this is all expenses to pay for their son's activities. So for her to just come in and then accuse Miranda of like draining him dry, that was stupid. It really was. So then from there, she's like, convinces Calvin to have a sit down with Miranda to talk about the money stuff, which is, oh god. So jumping back to where I was before Miranda running into the house, she talks about how, I was in there to show the house, but it turns out somebody came in there and made it all dirty. So when I was cleaning up and went upstairs, I saw 4 people hiding. So I screamed and ran. And then as Miranda, was explaining, I think it was Lisa saying there was a blue van that just pulled up. So Curtis and CJ, they call the cops and, they call Calvin. So Calvin rushes over there to talk to Miranda and consoles her. So he hugs her in the kitchen and they just talk about the whole situation. Calvin saying it's too dangerous for you to go to these houses by yourself. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't have a gun. And then I thought about it. Remember, what was it, last season where there was a whole episode about Calvin not wanting Miranda to have a gun due to, their their young son possibly getting a hold of it. But then Miranda explained being a single mom and whatnot, she needs to protect, her and their son because she doesn't have anybody else. And I thought that was something that they always, they had worked out. So the continuity here had me going, but I thought Miranda did have a gun. So yeah, Miranda talks about how, look, I'm a single mom doing this on my own, so I need to work. I need the money. And yeah, I forgot, she's like a realtor, so she makes a living based off of, how many houses she sells. So she has to do this line of work if she wants to make any kind of income. So the conversation shifts to the whole, look, I know we were supposed to have a conversation about money and whatnot, but it just feels like I'm doing this by myself and I'm sorry. And Calvin's like, look, just forget about the money. It doesn't matter. Just know that I'm always going to have your back because you're doing a hell of a job taking care of our son. So then, we quickly go over to Curtis bragging to Ella about the whole squatter situation and how he's mad that the cops and everybody showed up before he can get an award because the squatters actually left before the cops actually arrived at the scene of the crime. And then the episode closes out with Laura apologizing to Calvin because she made a big deal out of nothing. I mean, she had a single mom herself who worked hard. So yeah, for her to just accuse Miranda of draining him dry was really stupid. And then Calvin's like, look, I'm going to keep giving her money because it's not about giving Miranda money. It's, sharing money in order to raise our son and make sure he's taken care of. So there's nothing to accuse her of. And then, that's pretty much it. Like, that's the episode. Like I said, 5 out of 10. I thought it was So what do you think? I think, like I said, the whole squatter thing, this is just another prime example of a lot of people telling us stuff but not showing us anything. And the Laura thing about the money was completely out of left field. Like I said, it would have been different. I mean, look, it's like she's taking money from you every other day, every 3 days. And then for her to pull out those receipts and then for her to not read those receipts out loud and think to herself, wow, okay, maybe I'm tripping. That was just stupid. It really was. Because what she said, she was watching some Real Housewives of Potomac or something like that, and she thought about it. It doesn't concern you. Shut up. Okay, that's enough. That's all I got to say. Like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below, and I'll catch you in the next one.